Some major news coming out of Florida. Today, Florida's Supreme Court released two decisions that will have a major impact on the future of abortion in that state. First off, Florida's conservative Supreme Court ruled that the state's constitution does not protect abortion rights, which means that one of the country's strictest and most far-reaching abortion bans will be allowed to take effect, and that is a devastating 6-week abortion ban that was put in place by Ron DeSantis, who implemented it as he was attempting to show the Republican base that he could outflank Trump to the right while they were running for president. This conservative court overturned decades of legal precedent by ruling that the state constitution's privacy protections do not extend to abortion, and this is owed to the fact that 5 of the 7 court's justices were appointed by Ron DeSantis. In other words, this is what unfettered conservative control gets you, the strictest abortion bans in the entire country. But sure, freedom. Got it. It goes without saying, but many women don't even know that they're pregnant by the 6-week mark, and this move in Florida is going to effectively eliminate abortion, not just in the state, but in the entire South. Last year, more than 82,000 people got abortions in Florida. That's one of the highest rates of any state, and far more than were reported in any of the 17 states that now have banned all or most abortions. This is going to be devastating news, again, not just for Florida, but the entire region. With that said, there is some reason for hope. Florida voters have the opportunity to undo this ban, and soon, because today, the court also ruled that an amendment to enshrine abortion rights in the state's constitution can go on the November ballot. That would allow voters to potentially undo the new abortion ban in just a few months. Ever since the Dobbs decision in 2022, we've seen time and again just how unpopular these attacks on reproductive freedoms are, and how motivated voters are when they have the opportunity to win back their rights. In fact, we just saw it in deep red Alabama, of all places, where Democrat Marilyn Lands won a special election for a state House seat by a staggering 25 points after making reproductive rights central to her campaign. I had the chance to speak to Marilyn about running a campaign centered on protecting abortion and IVF in one of the reddest states in the country.
We knew that abortion was going to be a key part of our messaging when we went into the campaign. In my 2022 campaign, the Dobbs decision hadn't been handed down yet. And once that came, it became a piece of that campaign. This time around, things have been a little bit different. And women's health care and reproductive rights have sort of been at the heart of this campaign. And when we started this campaign, we hadn't had the IVF ruling here in this state. And so that was a real shocker. And then that became part of the conversation. And I've had so many people reach out to me to share their own stories. And I think people are talking about these issues now more openly and more freely. And I think that's really healthy dialogue that's taking place now.
And remember, while Florida's been trending Republican for the last few elections, it is in Alabama. And now Florida Republicans are going to be defending a 6-week abortion ban this November, something that polls in the low 20s. Floridians Protecting Freedom, the coalition that organized the ballot measure, gathered more than 1.5 million signatures in less than 9 months to get the proposal on the ballot. That's far more than the 891,000 that were needed, which should come as no surprise considering voters in 7 states now, California, Kansas, Kentucky, Michigan, Montana, Ohio, and Vermont, have voted for ballot measures that would protect abortion rights. And now President Biden's campaign has already been giving Florida Democrats a few signals that the state is in play at the national level. And this ballot measure will likely make those signals grow even stronger. And let's be clear, the Biden campaign clearly sees an opening. Trump's support dropped 14 points in Florida's primary last month compared with where it was 4 years ago, and 1 in 5 Republican voters opted for a candidate other than Donald Trump. Biden's campaign manager released a statement saying, quote, "Make no mistake, Florida is not an easy state to win, but it is a winnable one for President Biden, especially given Trump's weak, cash-strapped campaign and serious vulnerabilities within his coalition. This new extreme abortion ban, one that Donald Trump personally paved the way for, will now amount to a ban for the entire Southeast. Women in need of reproductive care throughout the region now face a choice between putting their lives at risk or traveling hundreds or thousands of miles to get care." Consider, too, while Florida is an expensive state, the Biden campaign enjoys a massive fundraising advantage over Trump, with about $155 million cash on hand compared to Trump's $40 million. And it's only going to get worse considering Trump's campaign has already diverted millions of dollars to a leadership PAC that's helping cover his legal expenses, and with his first criminal trial beginning on April 15th, those bills are only going to keep piling up. The ballot measure and the Biden campaign investments are also good news for Democratic prospects in the Senate. Former lawmaker Debbie Mukersel-Powell is running against Rick Scott for the U.S. Senate, who supports the abortion ban that will devastate reproductive care in Florida. I spoke with her in an interview coming out tomorrow about how this is going to impact the race.
Yeah, I'm extremely concerned. This is one of the most extreme bans on abortion, a 6-week abortion ban at a time where most women don't know that they're pregnant, without hardly any exceptions to rape and incest. This is affecting tens of thousands of women, not only here in our state, Brian, but also in the Southeast region that have been using Florida as their last state of resort to make sure that they have access to this critical reproductive health care. This is going to affect our health. It's also going to affect mortality rates, particularly for Black women who will not be able to have access to health care. But the good news is that, yes, the Supreme Court actually listened to over 1 million Floridians from all sides of the aisle, Republicans, Democrats, independents, who signed on to make sure that the government doesn't interfere in the decisions that are private for a woman between herself, her family, her doctor, and her faith. And so I'm expecting millions of people to come out in November to vote to make sure that we enshrine abortion access into our state's constitution. But it will mean nothing if they send Rick Scott back to the Senate, because let me just say, this is a man that agrees, that he said that he would have proudly supported a 6-week abortion ban, is pushing for a national abortion ban, and he will do that if he goes back to the Senate. That is why my race now is more critical than ever. Yeah, time and time, I've seen several polls that suggest that close to 70% of Floridians support a woman's access to reproductive health care. And so we believe that with the efforts of the coalition that has been working so hard to make sure that voters are informed, that they understand what's at stake in November, to make sure that they come out and vote for this ballot amendment, that it will pass. And so I'm feeling very optimistic that we will show the country, Brian, that Florida is not who these extremists want people to believe. They don't represent our values. We are an independent state. We're a bright purple state, and we will show everyone in November.
And of course, to see that full interview as soon as it's live, please make sure to subscribe to this channel. The truth is that the Senate map is tough for Democrats this year, but this news puts Florida in play in a real way, both at the national level and the Senate level. And just know that there is no path to the White House for Republicans without Florida. With abortion now on the ballot in the Sunshine State, these voters have a chance to send a message to the GOP once and for all that their reproductive rights are not up for negotiation. Before you go, I need some help. Please subscribe to the channel and do your part to help grow the progressive media ecosystem. I don't do sponsorships or paid ads, I won't ask for money, but just subscribing to this channel goes a really long way, and it helps get the message out to more people. The subscribe button is right here on the screen. You can also subscribe to my Spanish language channel, which I made to reach those crucial Spanish-speaking voters. That link is on the screen too. And finally, if you want to listen to my audio podcast, you can follow that link as well. Thanks so much for watching.